Good morning.
Hey,
My
guys.
name's Trent Mercado. That's Tommy. How do you say your last name?
Colbo.
He didn't even know. Today is a special day. Today is a day without Ryan Kruesi. He is home sick. Go blow up his Instagram and wish him well, even though by the time this video comes out, he'll be better. But Ryan_Kruesi on Instagram, go blow him up.
He'll appreciate it.
Yes. But today, I am going to do an oil pan mod on a bagger, which I've never done before. This is for a customer out of California. Tom is going to walk you through his side of the shop, packing up orders, talking to you guys on the phone, answering emails, all the shit I used to do and I hate with a passion. Tom's very good at it. His Midwestern charm is really, really nice. It's a nice little cherry on top of your customer service experience here at Kruesi Originals. Without further ado, we're going to dive right into it. Tom, you got anything to say?
No, I don't think so. I'm going to take you guys through a day in the life of Tom, packing your orders, answering your questions, and whatever else the shop needs done throughout the day.
Try not to put a fist through the wall.
Yeah. I think we're going to start the day with burritos. That's actually how I started my first Kruesi Originals adventure. Trent picked me up, and then we went straight to burritos.
Bitch. Great start. So I've never done a oil pan mod on a bagger. I'm pretty sure it's somewhat similar to a Dyna. I know the tube has to be a lot longer because if you look, the pan is a lot longer on the bagger. And there's this weird brace down here that makes it kind of a pain in the ass to get it out. But luckily, I don't have the motor or the primary on this, as you can see, because we're building the motor currently. It's on the bench behind me. We're waiting on parts from the machine shop, which are ready, so we'll probably pick those up today too. I'm gonna try and knock this out with as minimal attitude as I can give it. All right, so upon further investigation, it looks like there's a bit or like something broke off in the head of one of these bolts, which makes it a real pain in the ass. But I'm like maybe one pivot shaft nut away from getting that tranny out of the frame, so I might just pull the tranny out of the frame, flip it over, and have access to all the bolts, and then it'll be so much easier to do the job. If you can, I recommend that's how you do it. That's how I did the oil pan on my Dyna, because when I got my Dyna, it was like $1,200, but the frame was like smashed together, the front end was gone, so I had to tear everything off and get the frame straightened. So when I had my tranny out, I just flipped it over and did the oil pan mod that way. I'm probably gonna have to do that with this thing because honestly, it looks like they tried to do an oil pan before, or they tried to do this job and broke a bit off in the head of that bolt right there. So I'm gonna get this out of the frame and then show you what I'm talking about when it's out of the bike. The wonderful joys of working on other people's stuff. So in this state that it's in with no primary, no motor, I'm gonna get the exhaust bracket off, get this trans cover off so I don't have to take the clutch cable out, just take this cover off, get the starter off, and then it should be as easy as pulling the pivot shaft and the whole tranny will come out. So we're gonna do that instead of fighting with this in the bike.
I think we got them both.
Hopefully. You got the nut off?
Yeah.
All right, push her my way, which actually we should probably support this guy.
She's still wedged in there.
I think I felt her go loose. I'm gonna have to tap her out a little bit. Ooh, that's locked on in there, dude. We'll get them new bushings. Since we're already here, it's easy to replace. Yeah, here we go. This is the back side of that rubber bushing. Yeah, let's take a look at this. So, this is the back side of this rubber bushing. It's tore completely apart.
There's a one-piecer.
Yep, so he's getting a new one. Yeah, see the small hole? That's what it's supposed to look like. She's hammered.
I'd like to point out this day in the life, this is not normally what Tom is doing.
True, this is also not what Tom's usually doing in a day in the life, but I needed help, so he's helping out. And you're good, Tom, thank you, sir. Now, again, you don't need to pull the tranny out of the frame to do this job, but when I get it out, I'm gonna show you why I pulled it, because there's an obstruction in one of the bolt heads that I can't get the bolt off. So we're pulling this out, which he needed it. Those isolators were smoked, so I'm glad we did it. Nice easy way to not have to pull the clutch cable off. And then I'm gonna pull that pulley off that side because we're gonna chain drive it. Usually they say on the face of the pulley whether it's left-hand thread or right-hand thread. I think if it doesn't say, then it's right-hand thread, so it'll be lefty-loosey. Just being quite stubborn. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so that's not coming off. I'm gonna just wait and just continue with the job at hand, which is the oil pan mod. Yeah. Okay, tranny out. But yeah, see how this is spinning? That's probably why the whole thing is spinning. But yeah, that nut is pretty seized on there. But take a look at this. Look at that. I don't know if that's a drill bit or the head of a Allen socket, but somebody definitely tried to do this job before and failed, and then brought it to us and said, hey, can you do an oil pan mod for me? Sure. This is one of the things about working on people's shit is they don't tell you until you are in the job and find out, and then it adds hours to the job. That's why you guys pay more. And then you're like, well, what the you guys quoted me this? Yeah, but you also didn't tell me you broke a bit off in the head of the goddamn nut. So I'm gonna eat lunch and then we're gonna get back to it. I'm at a roadblock now. This bit that's broke off in here, again, I don't know if it's a drill bit. I don't know if it's like a Allen bit or something that's broke off in there. It's hardened steel. I don't want to up these drill bits, at least without Ryan here. I'll let him fuck up the drill bits or something, or he might have another way to get this out. He could probably weld something to it and get it out, but I'm gonna leave this and let him see it when we get back next week. I think we're gonna stop this job here and continue on something else because I don't want to up.
Hey guys, I'm Tom, and this is how I start my day. FedEx is unloading a lot of boxes for us. It looks like they're all Saddlemen seats for our custom seat orders that you guys all place on the website. They have to come here first. I don't know if they enjoy bringing them all here first, but it's fun for me. So, how's it going?
Busy day. Got 9 for you guys.
Bunch of seats.
Bunch of whatever, man.
Yeah, I'll give you a hand. As you can see, FedEx is now all inside, and it's my job to sort through it all, see who it all belongs to, and then I ship it back out to you lovely folks. We got a bunch of our custom Saddlemens in today. This big one's for a bagger if I had to guess. We got a heavy fragile package. It's a battery, it's nothing exciting. So now we're in my office where I answer the phone, which I now have a fancy iPhone, so you guys can get a hold of me even when I'm not in my office. This is where I process all the orders, print all my shipping labels, head to the website, order product in, ship product out, and I do some of our t-shirt design work, as I'm sure you've heard Kruesi say. Outside of that, I spend a lot of my time in the back of the shop in my cardboard castle packing boxes. Here we are in my cardboard castle packing up a K-bar for a Dyna. Start with a nice layer of foam so we don't scratch it up in transit. And then my favorite part, I get to go up the ladder to grab one. Give her a last minute quality control inspection here. She looks good to me, so we're gonna send it. Tuck her in her nice foam bed. So I go pick all these up from the powder coater, which, if I'm being honest with you, is probably one of the most nerve-wracking parts of my job that I don't talk about. The 15-minute drive back from the powder coater with a bunch of finished product in the back of the truck on a Phoenix city street, I think I'd rather drive across the snowy country again, to be honest with you. Because every time I hear something rattle, all I can think about is, great, that's another crash bar that's gonna have to go be repowder coated again. And then I get all worked up and I get here and unload them and they're all still perfectly fine normally, but I don't like it. I wish we had a better way to do it, but that's part of being a small shop, selling a lot of crash bars, and we do what we gotta do. This one made it safely, like I said. Now we just hope UPS does their part and gets it to the customer in one piece. And this is my second best friend. This is my tape gun. If you see me between 9 to 5 there's a 75% chance this is in my left hand. I do love packing boxes, believe it or not. I don't mean to seem not excited about this. If that's how I seem, I'm from the Midwest. I think that's just ingrained into me, be a little monotone. But packing boxes brings me a lot of joy. June just asked me a really hard question. She asked who my first best friend is. We're talking about at work or in general? Because the tape gun's definitely probably not second then. If we're talking about at work, I mean, I gave up nicotine a while ago, so it's got to be caffeine while I'm at work for sure. Caffeine makes a lot of things happen around here that probably shouldn't. Packed with love. Give her her second layer here, make sure she's tucked in. Now it is in its foam cocoon. We will give it more paper. Little side note for you guys now. I know we used to make you make the tough decision on the website if you had a Big Bear motor mount or an OEM motor mount. Now we send the bars with hardware for both motor mounts. It's the same bar regardless. You just have to stretch it over the Big Bear mount a little bit. And so now you get hardware for OEM or Big Bear, so it doesn't matter. You just buy a K-bar and it'll fit your bike regardless of motor mount. More paper. This one's going to New York. That's why we pack them as securely as we do, because we send these all across the country and world every single day because you guys are so awesome. And you get a free sticker with every order when we have them. We do get some emails occasionally about not getting a sticker. I do try my hardest to make sure everybody gets a sticker with their order. We do run out sometimes, and I refuse to make somebody wait for their paid for order over a free sticker. If you missed out on your free sticker, I'm sorry. Put it in your order comments next time. I'll give you 2. Very important that you don't have any wrinkles in your tape, because, I mean, who would want a box with wrinkles in the tape, right? Not a lick of OCD. His packing slip with his free sticker, and just like that, we have a fully packed K-bar. I think the most I've ever done of these is about 23 in a day, and it's a pretty lengthy process to pack one of these from start to finish. But it's worth it getting them out the door to you guys. So yeah, outside of packing them in the box, the last step is typically, come up front, I'll show you. We end up with a stack like this. I usually have to drive every one of these up to the UPS facility and drop them off to get them onto the truck for you guys. Again, small team here. We're doing our best for you guys. We'll get them up there today.
Okay, we're over here on this side of the shop now. We had an issue with the customer bike, so we're going to pivot onto something else. I'm going to wait for Ryan to get back in. He's got a bunch of little tricks and trades that he can do. He can also weld. I can't weld. He'll probably weld something to that, and we'll get that bolt out. But until then, we're going to switch gears. I'm going to work on my 03. Not that it really needs a lot of work. I just need to do an oil change and little, tighten up some bolts, check some things, just because I beat the shit out of this bike regularly, and she gets the least attention out of all of my motorcycles in the shop. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of work our way through this thing.
Would you say you're going to pivot?
I am going to pivot. We are indeed going to pivot and shift gears. I'm going to do a front tire, engine oil, check my air cleaner for, tightness and shit like that, bolt check it, that kind of thing. Give old Annie some love here. That's what we're doing now. And Tommy's still doing his thing over there. Okay, I got the oil drained. Now I am draining the oil filter. If you come around this side here, we have this fancy little doodad to get the oil drained all the way out into the vessel or whatever you use to store your used oil. We use an oil drain pan. It's made for it. After this, I'm going to fill the oil. I'm actually going to use Blood Lubricants oil. They have a V-Twin 2050, so I'm going to use that for the first time, see how good it is. It's supposed to be really good shit, so I'm going to try it and see. And then after that, I'm going to bleed my front brakes, because I need to bleed the brakes. They feel pretty f***ing spongy and old, and I like to use my front brake a lot. People like to give me shit about it, but she's a little beat. This old girl's gotten me through a lot over the past 3-4 years. On my third motor, second transmission, probably fourth bar setup, third rear suspension setup, fourth front suspension setup. Those are like my third front brakes, third set of rear brake. Yeah, like this bike's been through a lot.
How many tires would you say?
Tires? I can't count that high. Little maintenance shit when you beat on your bikes, you need to bring them in and give them some love every now and then. Man, I could use a C4 or something. That is a oil pressure gauge. The most important gauge on a stunt bike is a oil pressure gauge. You don't need a speedo. You don't need a tack. You don't need a fancy screen to tell you what's going on. All you need is an oil pressure gauge to make sure that you have oil pressure, because that's pretty important in a Harley Davidson to have oil pressure. I need a rear tire because we have a buddy coming into town. His name is Travis. Travis 211. He rides a teal and cream Dyna. He's coming into town to ride with the boys. Like Kevin says, I only pop out when out-of-towners are in town, so I'm popping out this weekend. Oil's drained. I got the old filter off. I already put the new filter on, but I did want to show you guys. I know Ryan went over this in a previous video about the new oil filters for M8. So this is what the old oil filter, obviously this is chrome, but the size-wise, this was the old filter for M8 and twin cam. This is the new one. They say for M8, I could run it just fine on my Dyna. I know Ryan couldn't get it to fit on his for whatever reason, but you could possibly get lucky and run at least on 03 and under, I think. I think he's got an 05. He tried to put it on and it didn't work. The crankcase sensor was getting in the way. Mine clears just fine, fits just a little bit. You get a little bit bigger oil filter, cools a little bit better, holds a little bit more fluid. And if you go to the other side of the motorcycle, join me over here. I have already began filling it with some hog blood, powered by Bloodline. Some hog blood for this hog, you know what I mean? 2050, synthetic. We'll see how it works. I've never ran it before, so I'll let you know. We'll check back in.
I'm bleeding brakes now, if you can hear me.
Brake fluid breaks down just like every other lubricant in any vehicle, like car, you know, anything. It breaks down just like oil. So after a while, your brake fluid loses that, like... Shut up! I'll check back in with you right now, hang on. So like I was saying before I was rudely interrupted by the compressor back there, brake fluid breaks down much like every other oil and lubricant in your motorcycle, so it's important to stay up to maintenance and make sure you have good brake pressure front and rear, bleeding the brakes. But yes, June, this is a bracelet that I got from a little girl selling bracelets with her mom at the Tempe Beach Park. We set up at like a car show for modded culture. Some little girl swindled me out of that bracelet. She's like, I have these bracelets for sale. I said, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have cash. And then she pulled out her mom's phone and gave me a QR code for Venmo. And I was like, you got me. All right. So I bought that and I've had it on my reservoir for good luck ever since. Now I am going to switch these grips out for some ODI Heartluck lock-on grips because the Bear grips are just a little too thick for my little hands, you know? Like I got small hands. I got an average size palm with short fingers.
We call them mini mitts.
Mini mitts. These are the mini mitts. So the Bear grips are just a little bit too thick for my liking. They're great grips. They hold up. They grip really well, but my hands are just too small. I get real bad arm pump trying to work that big thick dong, you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about, ladies. So I'm going to switch out for some ODI Heartluck grips. So I'm taking the slack out of my throttle and idle cable so I could swap this out for the ODI stuff. I used to run these ODI grips, that's why I know I like them very much. They give you a good grip on the bar and make the 1-inch bar feel a little bit more narrow. It's a thin dick.
All right, guys, so I've finished up my morning bit of packaging here today. So now I am gonna move into the production portion of my day, which involves going back to the lathe and making some Delrin sliders for you guys. So come on back. To start, we have a very clean workstation. Workstation being clean is an important part of any job. So we're gonna start off with an angle kit actually because Gino's here and Gino needs an angle kit for his 05 Dyna that he's building. So this is how our angle kits start right here. That's right, that is the beginning to an angle kit before I get my hands on it. We're gonna show you quick how we make our stoppers for underneath the tree. As I mentioned before, I do get a lot of joy out of packing boxes, but sitting on the lathe is probably my favorite part of my workday, if I'm being honest with you. In a different lifetime, some years ago, what some would say before I got my shit together, I was a sheet metal worker, a union sheet metal worker, so I did a lot of metal working and work with my hands, a lot of fabrication. And I really liked that type of work, but I didn't really like that work environment, if that makes sense. So finally doing something I enjoy that involves working with my hands and motorcycles. So here we go. Clear it out. and just punch it all the way through. You'll see in the next step, I'm gonna use a parting tool to make this into 2 separate pieces. But I'm gonna get some safety glasses on because shrapnel is gonna start flying. And June pointed out that I don't have any safety glasses on. All right, we're scoring a line on our Delrin here, just making some marks so I know where I need to part this. And I mean, I'm basically a CNC lathe at this point between this, my silver Sharpie, and my tooling over here. We're gonna get this chucked back up in the lathe here. Important never to leave your chuck key in the lathe because that's how you lose teeth. I'm already missing half a front tooth. I fell victim to a set of Raptor 80 handlebars as a child, not a lathe, luckily. So right now I'm just making myself some room. And now I'm gonna give it its final part. This piece is parted to our final dimension. We separated it from this piece. We still got our line here on this side. We'll go back and part this side now, and we'll have 2 pieces that are identical in length, and then we'll machine them to accept the riser bolts. So this is my quality control because this is a pretty true flat surface, and you can feel it's a nice smooth transition there. All right, they're the same height. We're gonna run with it. So we're gonna start shaping these into the stops now from being just a Delrin cylinder. This is the relief for the shoulder of the bolt here, or the head of the bolt that we're cutting in. Nice chamfer on there. And then, last but not least, make our nice smooth transition because nobody likes a rough edge. And so as you can see, we got a nice smooth lead in, nice little chamfer there. And now we take our half 13 riser bolt, which is included in the angle kit. As you can see, it drops right in there and sits on the shoulder. And now we're just gonna throw a nice little chamfer on here, give this a finished look, and then deburr this hole as well. And that'll be one complete stop. And then we're just gonna replicate it on this guy, and we'll have a set of steering stops. So now the last step, actually this is how we finish all of our Delrin. We hit it with a little bit of this PJ1 electronic contact cleaner. It's basically the equivalent to a brake cleaner, it's just not as hard on stuff. Just use this to make sure these are nice and clean, all the oil's off them coming off the machine or the lathe here, as well as our marker and any markings that may have been on it, because nobody wants Tommy's silver Sharpie scribble on their motorcycle, I'm almost certain of it. And last but not least, we hit it with this, a little bit of heat. I don't know if you can see that on the camera or not, but it's kind of that chalky gray white, like the trim, the black trim on your car turns after it sits out in the sun for a lot of years. And just like your car, if you hit this with a little bit of heat, I'm just gonna do the whole thing. I wouldn't recommend grabbing things you're hitting with a blowtorch barehanded shortly afterwards. But I have burnt my hands a few times over the years, so I think I've lost a little bit of that feeling. And that is it. These are still hot, but they're done. They're clean, they're shiny. They're ready to go on a motorcycle. All I have left to do is put these in a nice, beautiful package along with the aluminum tank stops, and it's ready to go out the door. Doing a little deburring of parts here before I package them up and ship them out. Just rubbing them down with a little Scotch-Brite here to knock down any potential sharp edges. And then we're going to package this guy up for the full angle kit. So in just a second here, I'll walk you guys through the packaging process to show you how it ends up in the state that you received it.
All right, we're checking back in now. I have the different grips up there. I had to swap out my throttle cables because my old ones were crunchy and shitty feeling, so I put some other used throttle cables that we had on the wall on there. That's kind of the way it goes with our own personal stuff. We use all the takeoff parts. I'm gonna change a tire. One of the young up-and-comers brought Gino some tires, and I snuck my way in there and said, hey, I'm gonna grab these two. So I got a couple used tires over there. Tires are becoming very hard to come by in Phoenix because I don't know if you've seen on Instagram or follow the scene at all. But there's probably about 150 kids that all ride Sportsters or Dynas or Harleys that stunt ride out in Phoenix. So all the old takeoff spots are getting ran through pretty regularly these days. So whenever I could find a kid that just went to the tire pile, I throw them a couple bucks, snag some tires for myself. I'm getting too old to be digging through the tire piles, you know what I mean? Yeah, they custom engraved my resis. TBT stands for Trick Bike Trent. I guess they couldn't get the whole Trick Bike Trent on there, but got a little bunny on there, a little Trick Bike Trent. That is me. I am Trick Bike Trent. Masterful skill. Yeah. Look inside. It's my dick in a box. You ever heard that song? No. The Lonely Island, Dick in a Box? Featuring Justin Timberlake. It's all about getting your lady a present, you know, like a birthday gift or a Christmas present, and it's just a dick in a box. My dick in a box, baby.
For whatever reason, that was like a popular ringtone. Like,
Yeah.
getting her cell phone.
Yeah. When ringtones were like a thing you paid for.
Yeah. I don't know why, but that was.
Or the callback tone. Anybody remember callback tones? When like you called somebody and it was like a song. Like instead of it just being like a brrr, it was like a song. That's probably how T.I. made most of his money. Yeah, but there was Dick in a Box. There was Threw It on the Ground. Threw It on the Ground. There was another one too. I can't remember. Damn it. What? Oh man. Yeah, look it up. 303. It was
It's like black dress with the tights on her knees. She's an actress.
And that's like the melody of it too.
Yeah.
This tire's from 2019. Look at how good that is. That's a takeoff tire. Shout out to the up and comer. His name's Gary. Burn him up Gary on Instagram. Get to use my OG privilege, you know, and take some of his tires that he spent all that hard-earned time and effort getting. And then I tossed him 20 bucks because I'm just a nice guy. He's definitely not selling these tires, but I give him some cash because I'm not a f***ing asshole, and a lot of these kids will just take advantage of people like that and just take free f***ing tires because they're f***ing assholes and cheap. Stunt riders are cheap. Motherfuckers, they are.
Heard it here first.
Heard it here first. Yeah, I'll say it last, too. Stunt riders are cheap motherfuckers. I went to school for it.
Is there a class on changing tires?
Oh, that's all you did. So like every course through MMI, they have like their criteria laid out of like this one's trend or drive line and wheels and tires, and of course you do wheels and tires, but then there's like maintenance and oil changes. You're changing tires there too. There's f***ing handlebars, suspension. You're changing tires. Like there was always whatever criteria you had to do for that course, and change 5 tires. Like it was no matter what the f*** you were doing, you were changing tires. Yup. And it was always like 2 tubeless and like 3 tube tires. You had to like put it up on the tire machine. Check off. F***ing dildo would come give you a signature. Take the tire off. Check off. Dildo would come f***ing sign it. By dildo I mean instructor. He would come and sign you off. And then you take the tube out of the rim. Check off. He'd come f***ing sign you off. Put the tube back in the rim. Check off. Like, yeah, it was a f***ing hour-long tire change by the time you're done getting this dildo to come sign off your paperwork. That was MMI.
Hey guys, how's it going? I am Tom. We are back finishing up the packaging of our angle kit here. As a step that I like to take as one piece of quality control, I like to make sure my bolts recess like they're supposed to. They both stick out like they're supposed to. Good clearance. And we are ready to package. We have one set of each size of the tank stops here, as well as the tank bolt that you get with the kit. We're just going to package these up, show you how they get in the state they are when you receive them in the mail from us. Here we go. I got me a new impulse sealer here, is what they call this. Ryan and Trent upgraded this for me recently. Makes my job a lot easier. Start by getting these stops sealed in here. Alright, we got our bolts in there. Put the big stops on the bottom. One set of stops in. This is live at 5. This is as they come in. Alright, we got all of our components in there. Give it our final seal. last but not least, the Kruesi stamp of approval. And that right there is a complete angle kit ready to go out the door. Every now and then we like to sprinkle in a gift for our customers from some of our sponsors. They send us some items to give away to you awesome folks out there. Show their appreciation for supporting us and them as well. His angle kit is in his box, but we're gonna give him little glasses visor wiper here from Law Tigers. Law Tigers is a great friend, sponsor, and supporter of ours. Shout out Law Tigers. We're gonna hook him up with this pretty sweet Harley Davidson champion hat because after all, we're buying parts for a Harley Davidson, so who wouldn't appreciate a sweet Harley hat? And of course, everybody's favorite part, the free sticker. And that is an order completely packed, plus a little surprise for this customer. Brandon G is who this box is going out to in Cincinnati, Ohio. So he'll have this long before this video comes out, I'm sure, but there's a little surprise in here for you, Brandon. Thanks for the support. High chews get me through a lot. I like sugar. Ever since I quit drinking, I love sugar. Keys to have the next one unwrapped before you're done chewing the one that's in your mouth. You never got to stop enjoying them. And that's a wrap. We're gonna go up to our friends at Air Park and Ship. They're typically our friends. I think it depends on how full the bed of the truck is, how much they like us from a day-to-day basis, and what time of the day we get there. Yeah, that has a lot to do with it too. Now we're at Naylor Performance. RJ owns Naylor Performance. He does all of our motor machine work for us, I guess you'd say. Builds our cranks, bores our cylinders, does our head work for us. And so we're here to pick up a crank for that Road Glide that Trent and Kruesi are building in the shop, along with the cylinders that RJ bored out to accept 95-inch pistons. So let's go see what RJ knows. All right, we've made it up to the Air Park Pack and Ship. We are here to drop off today's orders and get them on the way to you guys. And that's that. Everything is dropped off for the day and on the way to its new rightful home. We are back. It's 4:15 in the afternoon, and we're gonna go back in, see what Trent's up to. He was allegedly gonna change a tire on his bike. We'll see if he's done with that yet. This is what happens when you let your bosses pick out your shop key for you.
And with that lovely turn of events, the day is done. It is 5 o'clock. I'm going home. I just got my ass kicked by my own bike. I put a front tire on it, and then nothing else wanted to line up after. I'm done. I'm done for the day. I got it back on, back together. I figured it out. It's fine. But that's not how I wanted to end my day. You guys went on a fantastic adventure with Tom and June. I hung out here. I did some shit. I got pissed off, and now I'm eating some food. I'm gonna go home. This is Kruesi Originals. That's Tom. June's behind the camera. This was a day in the life. A day without Ryan. A sad, sad day without Ryan. Hope you enjoyed it. Go buy something on the website, www.kruesioriginals.com.